Hi, this is Eric with PWI in Wichita, Kansas, and I'm here to talk about our King Air cabin light upgrades. We've been a cabin light OEM supplier to Textron for 40 years, so if you have a King Air, you have our lights, and those lights look like this. So there is a power supply and a bracket that holds the fluorescent tube in place, and those lights are just right above each window. So there's a cutout there, you're getting some indirect lighting on that window. We have a LED solution for the 90, 100, and 200 that replaces this fluorescent light with an LED. So this is an STC approved kit. You can see that they're exactly the same size. It fastens with the hook and loop fasteners like Velcro, so that's the same. The reason you like that is because it won't create any sort of rattle or any other noisy kind of things. The bracket ships with it, so it's simply removing the fluorescent product and putting the LED in its place. It's really pretty straightforward. Most customers consider doing this when they have their plane in for maintenance, and often the interior is pulled for that, so you've already got that expense of pulling the interior apart. It just makes sense to go ahead and replace those lights with these LEDs, which have a 100,000 hour service life, which is pretty substantial, and you won't be buying any more tubes, ever. That's the King Air 90, 100, and 200. We have two other LED kits that I want to talk to you about. Okay, now I want to show you the STC approved light kit for LED light kit that we have for the King Air 250. It looks the same. 250 looks very similar to a 200 from the interior, but the lights and everything behind the scenes is quite different. We've got this light. This fluorescent light is in there currently. This is obviously different than the 90 light I just showed you. So you'll be replacing this light behind the window, or at the top of the window, with the LED light that we use in the 90, the 200. That's the same LED. All right, so the LED part's the same. The fluorescent original is the different part. The other thing that you'll be doing that's different from a 90 is the power supply on a 90 fluorescent light is part of the mounting bracket. In a 250, there are 6 power supplies underneath the floor that look just like this. So you'll be lifting the floor up and replacing these power supplies with 2 of these brackets. So when you remove the power supply, you've broken the electrical connection. So these two plates, one for the left side of the plane, one for the right side of the plane, will complete those electrical connections that we created when we removed the power supplies. So again, those are 2 completely different processes. The LED part of that is the same, whether it's a 90, 100, 200, or 250. That's the 250 kit. So the King Air 300 and 350 rounds out our lighting options. Again, the stock aircraft come with our fluorescent lights, and these are in the headliner, so they run down the length of the aisle. A 300 King Air has 36 of these lights, and the 350 has 42. They're all exactly the same, there's just more of them in the 350. We have an STC LED kit that will replace your fluorescents with these LEDs, and you can see they're exactly the same size. They go in the same place. They attach with Velcro tape, and they have the same connectors. So the process is a little more elaborate. You're not going to each window. You're pulling the entire headliner down, which is 6 or 7 feet long. It's a pretty good sized unit there. And you're going down the line, simply replacing one fluorescent with an LED, and you're going to get really good at it because there's 36 or 42 opportunities to practice that. The good news is, obviously, is that LEDs, like I stated before, will last you 100,000 hours, so you won't have to address this probably ever again. The LEDs are available in the 300 and the 350 in either a 4100K warm white or the 5100K cool white. So the 5100K is a little little whiter, a little maybe almost blue. A lot of special missions operations, charters, government agencies kind of prefer that. If you think your cabin might be just a little bit on the dim side, maybe the 5100K will work for you. That's certainly your option. There's no difference in price, so it doesn't impact your wallet making that choice. So in the King Air 300 and the 350, there are 6 power supplies underneath the floor. So you will remove those and then replace those bigger fluorescent power supplies with a much smaller and lighter, significantly lighter LED driver. So that process of swapping those 2 components out saves you 12 pounds, which is pretty significant just for lights. So again, LEDs are creating a less power draw on the generators and the motors, so you're going to be able to get better performance, fly further, just have less generator and engine maintenance, turning those components. They work with the factory on-off dim controls in the cockpit, so none of that changes. They all come with the right connectors. There's no soldering iron bench work that you have to do to kind of get this thing installed, put together, and running. The installation instructions for all of our King Air kits come with drawings. They come with the STC documentation. They come with the continued airworthiness documentation that you'll need to maintain those going forward. There's not a lot of maintenance involved, but that documentation is important to have in your logbook. So we supply all of that. And finally, if you're doing a King Air LED upgrade, you can combine these window light kits and the overhead light kits with our LED reading lights, as well as our LED fasten seatbelt no smoking sign upgrade. So that will completely LED your cabin and give you that entirely refreshed cabin look. And all of our King Air upgrades are available from our dealers, and we have a dealer page on the website at www.pwi-e.com.